Patrick, guess what came in the mail today?
Oh, what?
This.
Stick it in!
I think a quote that summarizes this episode would be Denzel Washington from Training Day, in which he says,
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
and that's exactly what James Gunn said to probably Kevin Feige when he flipped the double birds and left for DC. But welcome to episode 104 of the M&K Productions Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, joined here by my co-host, Christian, aka Miss Lingo. Kristen, how are you doing today? You've had a very eventful weekend, if I heard correctly.
Yes, I did have an eventful weekend, but I would say, at least I would start the episode with "I am Groot," you know, because of today's topic.
That translates to King Kong ain't got shit on me. But yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, the newest entry being the third and final, for now, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, directed by James Gunn, before he jettisons off to go and try to fix DC and do a Superman movie. But we are not alone here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We're joined here by two returning guests. I'll start with the one at the bottom of me. We've had him on before. I completely forgot which episode he was on before.
Robert Zemeckis.
Robert Zemeckis, yes, the Uncanny Valley. But we talked about Pinocchio and the horrors that was. But you can catch him on Instagram. It's Darius French, aka D Riptide. Welcome back to the show, Darius.
Yay, you're back.
I gotta tell you, it still feels pretty surreal. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I never actually thought I was gonna get a chance to talk about an actual mobile movie like on a podcast because I honestly didn't know how these last 2 weeks were going to go. I mean, on the one hand, I did see this. And I finally got around to watching all the Scream movies finally, so that's a good plus.
But the good thing is you're here to talk today with us about a great Marvel movie, I must say. And I think, in my personal opinion, we'll hear about your guys' opinion later, but I think the best MCU film since Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you said since Endgame, and I need to back up and check your breath. I'm like, wait, what?
I was gonna check my card. No, don't worry, I did not forget Spider-Man No Way Home. But we're also joined by our guests, who you lovely folks got to hear from last time. But Tyler's from Tyler Nerdy Movie Reviews. He is back. If you enjoyed him for the Marvel movie, he is back to talk with us for Guardians. So welcome back, Tyler.
Hello. Thank you for having me back, and so soon too.
Yeah, it was really soon. I know this is kind of a crazy situation, but we are so happy that you both can join us today to discuss, like I said, I think probably the greatest MCU film since Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, but you already know where to find these two. The links will be in the description below. But so, like I mentioned, today's show will be going over Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and how it shits on everything else that's come out since No Way Home. Then we're going to be getting into some film news. We got some interesting stories coming out about a certain Disney film that focuses on an old angry man, which I don't blame him in. And then we're going to be getting into box office reports because at the time of this recording, we are 4 days away or 3 days away from the release of Disney's Little Mermaids. We're going to see the pre-box office era.
We're about to go under the sea.
Shut up. But besides that, if I'm all set, and I think we should get right into the news. So what do y'all think? Should we get into the news now?
Yeah.
I'm hooked on a feeling. Let's go, Mac.
Let's get right into the news.
This is CNN, a network of Turner Broadcasting System.
All right, so the news for this episode, I'm going to start it off with. So before our recording, we were talking about how accurate Rotten Tomato is and how inaccurate it's been for probably like the last 5 years. I think for me, I started noticing how divisive RT is probably when Batman v Superman came out, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, you Marvel fanboys are tanking this quality high art movie," which, you know, if you're calling Batman v Superman a high quality art film, then you need to get checked. But I think they might be right because Indiana Jones 5 gets the worst Rotten Tomato score, including Crystal Skull. So Indiana Jones 5 is coming out on June 29th, and it's supposed to be the last Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford. It's going to have him in it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is directed by James Mangold, and it will see us have him fight Nazis in the 1950s with time travel. And right now it is sitting, if I can see here, I believe it has. Where is it? Okay, I'm gonna compare this. So, do you guys remember the 2008, the last time we got it, the Kingdom of Crystal Skull with Shia LaBeouf as Mutt?
I was in sixth grade when it came out. I remember going to theaters to see that.
Guess how much? Guess its Rotten Tomatoes score before I tell you guys the Dial of Destiny.
Thought at least. Oh, go ahead, Darius. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No. Okay. Well, I thought at least the last one, the 2008 one, would be sitting at least a 50%, maybe 60. I haven't looked, but are we talking about the newest one?
Well, we're talking about both. I want you to compare, like,
okay,
I want you to guess the 2008 movie and then the 2023 movie.
Okay, so the 2008 movie, I believe it's probably sitting between anywhere from a 50 to 60, no more than 75%.
I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm gonna say mid to high 70s because let's be honest. Again, Rotten Tomatoes is kind of unreliable, and I'm gonna be honest. Some of these scores from the early to mid 2000s, early 2010s, or whatever. I don't necessarily know. I don't know how the websites work or whatnot. But comparing that to an Indiana Jones movie with freaking time travel in it, I genuinely hoped those time travel rumors were not going to be true. I may be jumping ahead here, but I'm really sorry.
I'm gonna go probably like the mid 50s to the low 60s on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then I'm gonna get more accurate on the new one because I think I did see a picture that it was like 43-46%.
Yeah, I recall seeing that photo too. The one that it was like circulated and they like had just a little rotten, little smush tomato. I almost said potato. But Matt, give us the news.
All right, so the 2008 film Crystal Skull is sitting currently at 77% certified fresh, and at the time of this recording, Dial of Destiny is sitting at a 52%.
Yikes! That's when I last saw it. I thought it, like Tyler just said, I thought it was sitting at a 45%. They must be smooching some critics right now to say, can you give us a good review since this is Harrison's last movie, please?
So, but just to keep in mind, Indiana Jones 5 has gotten only 29 critics reviews, while Crystal Skull has 300 and I think 309 for the 308. But yeah, so guys, were you guys excited for the Indiana Jones movie? Because I will say this, I wanted to see it just because I like Mads Mikkelsen. I can't stand Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and her writing is very we're not going to get political here, but it's very though on the pro side.
It's very divisive to a degree. That's the best way you can say it.
Were you scared of them doing? I was scared of them doing. They're like, oh, you're an old man. Let me check your privilege, you old white man. And like, I'm like, oh no. But and then the trailer came out with de-aged Harrison Ford and awful CGI, and it's just like it looks like Harrison Ford's bored. But were y'all excited to see the new Indiana Jones movie?
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I honestly, I was just looking at Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny as just a regular fifth movie, like a franchise. I'm not gonna be like. I'm gonna go back to my previous point that I meant. Back to the previous point I mentioned, because even as someone who I'm familiar with the Indiana Jones movies, I've watched them. I get the significance of how good they are and whatnot. But even I have to admit, as someone who watched them, who liked them, but didn't get that far into them, that even as far as the third movie with them literally riding up into the sunset and with them literally riding up into the sunset, Dial of Destiny. Even if I did find myself mildly enjoying the movie for some way or another, it was gonna be nothing more than just a grotty little epilogue where they stumble and fall in horse shit. Let's be, and that's not even the worst. And that's the like seriously, I wasn't even sure about the time travel rumors until I saw some rumors flying around online, and I'm like, I was genuinely hoping that thing was not going to be true under any circumstances. I mean, you'd have to try really hard to make an Indiana Jones movie that's worse than the one that has Shia LaBeouf swinging through the jungle with the monkeys.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing that. I haven't watched that movie probably since theaters, and that's a sign. And that movie was released 2008, and we are now in 2023, so that is almost nearly like 10 years, maybe 12 to 13 years ago.
14, 15, actually.
Oh my god, that's really showing my age, y'all.
Tyler, what about you?
See a single one in theaters.
Tyler, what about you?
I'm gonna remain more optimistic because for the longest time after watching Indiana Jones as a kid, I wanted to be an archaeologist or something history
Aw.
related, and I love history so much, but I'm just really easy to please. I'm usually the guy that's against the critics, and I am more optimistic on movies. So I'm still excited to see it. I have hopes for it still. I'm easier to please.
All right, so here's the thing. I really enjoyed James Mangold and his films. So here's the thing. Born Ferrari. Great movie. Thumbs up. Love it. Always recommend it. Logan. Thumbs up. Always recommend it. You know, Night and Day. Remember that Tom Cruise movie
Yep.
with Cameron Diaz? I feel like nobody watched. You know. All right. Move on. Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. Great movie. Love that. Recommend that. Kate and Leopold. I have a soft spot for that film. I don't mind that Hugh Jackman movie. It's a cute, cheesy little romance movie. Fine. And Girl Interrupted. That's a movie I grew up watching. You know, that's a coming of age film. But knowing that he went from like all this stuff to going to directing Indiana Jones and this new one with Phoebe, whatever, I want to call her Phoebe Bridgers. I know that's not her name. That's a singer, but
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, yes. I just am like, I was very confused about why she was hired. I was like, why? Like, she just didn't seem the kind of writer for me to be like attached to this film. And then I saw her work for the last James Bond movie, and I was not impressed. I was so
What do you mean?
angry.
That's the best James Bond movie.
I didn't even see that one.
It was
and to be
good.
fair, the last two James Bond movies were not great. They were
What are you talking about? You didn't like Spectre?
No. I liked Spectre. I liked the 2012 one.
Skyfall.
That was the last great one. Spectre was
Fine.
okay.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Even though Dave Bautista's in it, that was probably the really most memorable action scene besides the opening. Everything else in it was mid. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. And then the last James Bond movie was a disappointment. And knowing that she wrote this one, I have zero hopes. Do you know what I want to do when this James Bond movie comes out?
What?
Not James Bond.
Indiana
Jones. Oh my gosh, you gotta stop writing. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, my wonderful fiance, hello Dylan, if you're listening, I'm gonna force him to sit down as we finish up Lego Batman, the really early version of Lego Batman, and then as we finish that, I'm gonna say, let's play the Indiana Jones
game, Lego. Yeah.
I'll watch that over watching this. I was so excited, and I saw the trailer, and then I was just like, all right, this is not gonna go the way I wanted it to be. So I'll just wait for Disney Plus. Yeah, I'm not surprised how that critic scores rating is gonna be. So that's where I stand.
Kristen, what's your next piece of news?
All right, let's start off with an easy piece of news. All right, so we've been talking, I think we talked about this once already, about Clint Eastwood's Jury Number 2 movie that's set to be his last movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah. All right, so we got Nicholas Hoult, Toni Collette, and Zoe Deutsch joining, but now the one and only, the star of 24 and the latest Paramount Plus series, Rabbit Hole, Kiefer Sutherland has joined Clint Eastwood's next movie. So right now, Holt is set as the main character, but from the article though, I do not see what the character will be, because I also see from the article coming from the Hollywood Reporter is that the film is set to shoot this summer. So yeah, I am very surprised that Kiefer Sutherland has joined this cast. I was expecting somebody like, I don't know, like a Nicolas Cage to be joining this, because after we just saw them work together in Renfield, I wouldn't be surprised if they work together again. But guys, what do you think about Kiefer Sutherland and him joining Clint Eastwood's last film?
I am definitely interested to see how this one turns out. I haven't seen the entirety of Clint Eastwood. Sorry, I haven't seen the entirety of Clint Eastwood's entire catalog of films, actor and director included. But I've definitely seen enough of it to know that the man has definitely crafted out a legacy that many have only inspired and dreamed of. And I definitely would say that him being in his 90s right now, it definitely would have been an honor in order to work with him, especially if it was his last hurrah, you know. It's it honestly feels sort of surreal, honestly looking back at it, how long it's been going on, how much he's inspired and impacted so many other actors and directors along the way. You know, it's I don't know if I already called the last movie therapeutic in a sense, since this is going to be his last rodeo or whatnot, but I can definitely tell it's going to be.
And I will say, Clint Eastwood is no subject to controversy, given, you know, he's very conservative, but I'm surprised a lot of actors are going to put their thoughts aside about how he is as a person and wanting to work with him for one last chance. So Tyler, let me hear your thoughts.
I think we talked a little bit about it on my Mario episode because they had just announced it. But adding Kiefer Sutherland is interesting. I'm not familiar with a whole bunch of his work. He's kind of that actor that I would see on the stuff my parents were watching.
Yes.
Never in anything I watched.
Yes.
But he is interesting, and I would be interested to see what he adds to the movie.
So one thing about Kiefer Sutherland is a movie that you all should probably watch or don't watch. It's called Pompeii. Did you all ever see that movie? It's a disaster.
The one with Jon Snow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
It is horrible.
People of Pompeii!
Only death is freedom for a gladiator.
I never saw you look at any man the way you looked at that slave.
If they catch you up here with me,
It would be worth it.
can you feel that?
It is horrible, but if you want something that tries to act like it's Titanic, it is theatrical experience. It's oof. It's like garbage. And knowing that Kiefer Sutherland was in it, I was like, whoa! I'm like,
that just solidified my point that a lot of the Game of Thrones actors.
Pearl Harbor tried to be Titanic. That didn't exactly go well either. But that's
I mean, there were both serious tragedies where both of their loves didn't work out in the respected ways.
Pompeii just confirmed the fact that a lot of the Game of Thrones actors cannot act to save their lives in films. There's only one person. It's literally like there's two people. It's literally Lena Headey and Peter Dinklage. Everyone else has not really done anything. Because Sophie Turner was in X-Men. That sucked.
Well, she was in that Quibi series that went to Roku. Remember? It was like, well, she dated Joe Jonas, so they got their money.
Then she did, and then
married to Joe Jonas. Sorry.
Kit Harington has done like a lot of stuff that no one's cared about. He did Pompeii. He was in Call of Duty, the worst one, Infinite War. Well, not the worst one. He was in Infinite Warfare. He was in the Eternals, which no one cared about, and he was literally in there for 2 minutes. Hey.
I'm gonna listen. I love Eternals, and I won't take slander.
Oh.
I'm gonna be honest. I also think that Eternals is honestly. I think people give Eternals a lot of fun.
It was boring.
It's not a perfect movie.
You don't want to listen to our episode.
It's not a perfect movie. It is not a perfect movie under any sense of the word, but at least it actually tries to do something different. And sure, none of the characters are exactly new and fresh because they don't really get fit all the time. It's I can at least applaud them for trying to do something different, actually attempting to brought out a world with new characters and whatnot. Of course, it doesn't exactly work on.
It was boring.
Oh my god, Mac! All right, get to your point, Mac.
Yeah, no, but what were we talking about?
You bashing Kit Harington.
Oh yeah, no, it's just like a lot of those actors, they just, and then like what's her name? Mace Williams, is that how you pronounce her name?
Macy Williams,
yeah. She hasn't really been in a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh man. Like I remember she was in the New Mutants. I'm like, oh yeah, you're the girl from Game of Thrones.
Well, to be fair, shout out to her podcast. She also hosts a film podcast with two of her friends.
He has a podcast as well. God damn.
Well, everybody has a podcast nowadays. That's how it goes.
They should come on here. We could talk about how great their acting ability is, and I mean that in a sincere way. It's not a sarcastic. I may have a sarcastic tone, but I'm actually dead serious.
You don't see me right now, but I'm covering my mouth, my hand with my mouth, and I'm just like, oh.
I love
okay, Macy, come on.
I'll be like, I loved you in Hot Ones. That was classic.
Anything with hot ones and chicken wings, it's always a must watch. So,
but yeah, no.
Get on to your next story, Mac.
But to wrap it up, I'm excited to see Chris Eastwood's last movie. This is his last hurrah. I'll be down. I think anything besides Cry Macho. If The Mule was his last movie, I would have been perfectly fine with that, because that seemed like well, you guys remember the theory, like people were posting online, it's like when he was like in the trailer, like, I'm sorry for everything. It was like an apology to his daughter for choosing work over her all these years, because his daughter was in that movie too, playing his actual daughter.
That honestly did feel somewhat like a farewell.
Yeah. So
I kind of did, but I think he wanted something that he could give his last acting performance and then give something a last directing performance. That's what I think. He wanted to do both.
Then, more tragic. He could have done Richard Jewell as the last directorial, and then Cry Macho as his last acting.
Well, given the fact he's really conservative in certain views, I wouldn't be surprised if Richard Jewell would have been his last film. or also The Mule.
I did like The Mule.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people hate it, but
I mean, Bradley Cooper. Anything I watch with Bradley Cooper.
But my piece of news is that, guys, we are like 2 months away from Independence Day, and remember 2016, where it was the year sequels, where we got the critically acclaimed Independence Day Resurgence.
Fuck no, baby.
Said no one ever.
Did anyone see that in a movie?
I only recently watched it. I never saw it in theaters because I had never seen the first Independence Day.
What'd you think?
It's a movie.
It was made. It was directed.
It was a movie with lots of good actors that maybe weren't the best that they've done.
It's got handsome actors. Let's make that fair.
Yeah.
Ding dong. Welcome to Earth.
A-Train was in it, so you know.
Holy shit, he was?
Yeah. He was in it.
Wow. That's crazy.
So apparently, there was original plans with Will Smith's character in the movie, because a lot of people criticized that they couldn't get Will Smith back for the second one, even though I think he said no, or he was busy with Suicide Squad and Focus.
I literally just saw a post on Instagram that actually explained that.
Yeah. So this is the quote. This is a producer, Dean Delvin. He's a writer producer for Independence Day 2. He said, before we wrote one word, we met with Will Smith and said, this is the idea we have. He loved it and was super excited to do it. We wrote not just one, but 2 sequels with him in mind, and we handed them into the studio. They went crazy and greenlit immediately. They told us, this is the best first draft we've ever read of any script. It was a bit of like Rocky 3. He'd gotten rich and he'd gotten famous, and he had to get the eye of the tiger back, you know? He's a little too comfortable, and it's his chance to bring the old Will Smith on the retirement. So that would have been his original character in the second one.
I love the fact they mentioned Rocky 3
in
this quote.
What is happening?
Best first draft ever.
I've heard there's Rocky 3 with this. I heard it about the CM Punk situation in AEW. Like, what's going on with Rocky 3? Jesus Christ. But with Independence Day Resurgence, you guys will probably, if you didn't see the movie, spoiler alerts, Will Smith's character is confirmed to be dead. So they said, yeah, you dropped out of this movie. We're going to kill you off screen.
Welcome to Earth.
Rip.
And the way
your legacy, let's just end your career.
And the way they killed him off was like, oh, he was test piloting the alien weaponry, so he died, or like he died from testing the ship.
Anyway,
but what do you guys do you think the second Independence Day movie would have been better if Will Smith came back, or no?
I'm going to be 100% honest. There really is only so much an actor's star power or charisma can give to an entire film production. I honestly feel as if even if they managed to give Smith back for the movie, I'm not sure if it would have really done any better.
I'm kind of in the same mindset. I doubt he would have done much to help it out.
Yeah, I don't, because it just shows how recent Will Smith's even like acting career has been. He's not been in the greatest films. I mean,
what do you mean? Bright was like an Oscar-winning film.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about Academy Award nominated film, M. Night Shyamalan film, After Earth.
Oh my God.
Are you asking me or telling me?
May I go to my room, sir?
Denied! Sit down!
Oh,
Same year as Oblivion came out, which was like two similar movies if you think about it.
Oh. He wouldn't have helped nothing with it, let's be honest. I just think that movie was just doomed. It shouldn't. If anything, it should have came out probably when the hype of the first film was out, like at least in that first 5 years. But then it was so late when the newer one came out. But yeah,
it was weird. 2016, we had like a ton of. We had My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, Zoolander 2.
Neighbors 2.
Neighbors 2. I'm like, what? 2016 was such a weird year for movies. We had sequels. It was video game movies. And it was like a lot of indie films too. I think that's when oh my God, who directed The Witch with the Anya Taylor-Joy?
Robert Eggers.
Yeah, that's the year he released that one. There was a lot of experimental because The Witch came out, Lights Out came out, Don't Breathe came out. I think 47 Meters Down. No, the Shallows came out. It was weird, and then we had the Blair Witch sequel.
We also had La La Land.
Moonlight.
Don't forget my favorite movie. Okay.
We're not gonna mention that debacle here.
Okay, Darius, I'll know that for next time. All right.
You got anything else, Kristen?
Yes, I got my last final piece of news, and this is just breaking news. Because I am so just fascinated what is going on with this situation. The Idol, the big Sam Levinson show that's supposed to star Lily Rose Depp and The Weeknd, has received a 5-minute standing ovation after the Cannes premiere. Sam Levinson gets emotional in speech as the Deadline headline article reads. And the premiere of the film just happened now. They premiered the first 2 episodes of the series that's set to debut. I believe it's like the first week in June, so it's very, very soon. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping you all read, or at least I should encourage you all to go read the controversial article that Rolling Stone released about how toxic the work environment is and how toxic Sam Levinson has been as a person. I am just more invested in this as the controversy, and reading some of the headlines and some of the recent reviews, I guess, that are just popping up, people just giving their quick thoughts on Twitter, who are at least able to see the show in advance. It's very not parental guidance viewing.
It's your papa's TV show.
Nope. And I am just very, very nervous to watch the show in general. I've heard a lot of stories go on about this show, and I am just, it's no surprise that, when Cannes receives big, projects or something, they get huge standing ovations. It's no surprise. But knowing that this got like a 5-minute standing ovation, given what has happened, it kind of scares me. Like knowing we're applauding the work of a toxic work environment, and then also shining a light on a person who is not believed to be the nicest person.
Well,
so
with that, you gotta realize that. Well, you finish your thing, I'll say it.
No, go ahead. You
gotta realize whenever there's a film festival and you always see the headline, oh my God, X film received a X amount of time of ovation. I don't think I'd go off that entirely saying it's good. I would probably say it's more of like, oh, it would be rude not to clap, so they just kind of clap out of pity because we don't know. Like this could be from I saw like The Weeknd said like apparently he lost his voice trying to be in the show. I'm like, oh, okay, Abel, relax. But I don't know if that'll be the case because what service is this going to be on?
This is going to be on HBO Max starting tomorrow.
No, it's Max.
Called Max.
Max, yeah.
Max. Why did they give it that stupid ass name?
My thing is like, the reason why people will probably watch this is mostly because of The Weeknd, just because he's like, and the fact that it's Johnny Depp's daughter, but more of The Weeknd though.
I just think it was going to be more of a watch-worthy show because of the fact that it's Sam Levinson, and he's the creator of Euphoria. And everybody watched Euphoria. I don't, Mac. I don't know if you watched Euphoria. I watched Euphoria. Darius and Tyler. I don't know if you two watched it. Did you both watch it?
I'm going. This is.
And the show is pretty much the same thing as I thought of the first season. Nothing really adapted or changed. It always brought something like, exciting and new each week, where I was just like, oh, what's gonna happen? What kind of dramatized soap opera is it going to be this week? And
I called Euphoria a drug version of 13 Reasons Why.
I mean, that's not a bad comparison.
Oh no, it's a terrible comparison. I hate 13 Reasons Why.
But to be accurate, to be accurate to that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, at least...
I think technically speaking, for film cinematic reasons, Euphoria is good. But if we're gonna talk like story wise, the first season of 13 Reasons Why is much better.
By a slim margin. But I bet you the show's gonna come out and everyone's like, man, get this broke ass Euphoria off our screens.
I'm gonna just cringe if somehow they turn this into like a second season. Like, imagine we're gonna be here talking about this like 2 to 3 years from now, where we're like, oh, remember when it premiered at Cannes and it got a 5-minute standing ovation, and now we're in season 2. Guys, are you gonna watch The Idol?
No.
I don't think I have any intention on watching anything Sam Levinson puts out. Putting aside the fact that he is another in the long line of people in Hollywood who are abusive or just general assholes. Woody Allen, Weinstein, Johnny Depp. Yes, I said it. It's honestly amazing. It's honestly amazing how long the movie industry has been going on for, and how long they've been sort of indirectly encouraging people like this to sort of thrive in the business and sort of get far. I didn't even get that far on the news on Sam Levinson until I saw a post when I saw that Bobby Ferreira, one of the stars of season 1 of Euphoria, she was also in the film Unpregnant with Haley Lu Richardson. She was very good in that one. I didn't. Until I saw the
Barbie Ferreira. Yes, Barbie Ferreira.
I said that. I didn't realize any of the depths on the situation until I saw her statements and basically what she said on the post, to the point where I don't think she was in season 2 in any capacity at all. And I'm saying this as someone who had thoughts on seeing Euphoria, but after seeing the end results and the backstage treatment of what's going on, it sort of turned off my interest from ever wanting to touch the show with a 39.5-foot pole.
Well, don't forget, we also can't forget he is the son of Barry Levinson. So another huge director. So he comes from that great old word that we've been passing around this year, and that is the word Nepo baby. So one last thing. Did you guys watch Malcolm and Marie? Because I know him and Zendaya are very close. I know, she adores working with him.
I did not.
Yes, I did. Yes, I actually did watch. I did watch Malcolm and Marie. Back then when I first watched it, I thought it was pretty good. But then again, this was before I knew about this. This was before I even knew about the thing. I remember giving the film like 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't exactly remember. What I put down in my review. I mentioned. I mentioned something along the lines of in a film that's centered entirely around authenticity. There isn't really a whole lot of it here.
The one thing I just remember about Malcolm and Marie is the macaroni and cheese. But Tyler, last thoughts before we wrap up.
I haven't really seen anything this man has been attached to.
Would you be interested or no? You're just going to avoid it entirely?
Probably just avoid it. I have a lot of other things I would rather watch to get off my list.
Fair enough. Anything else?
No, not really. I don't. This guy just kind of seems like a tool. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he sounds like very much a tool. But guys,
well, wait. I have one more story.
Is this breaking news?
Oh no.
Sort of breaking news. So guys, guess what I watched on Friday?
What did you watch?
White Man Can't Jump with Jack Harlow.
That was the last thing I was expecting you to watch.
That movie, it was, you want to talk about peak cinema, this will make Scorsese cry. I mean, it's, so I want to give you guys articles. So the the remake for White Man Can't Jump has it's directed by Calmatic. And you may know that name because he did the newest House Party remake, which was also
I noticed that.
Yeah, it stars Jack Harlow, Sinqua Walls with Tiana Taylor, Laura Harrier, and late Lance Riddick. So currently, this one is sitting at what is the audience score? I can't see it. Okay. So the critic score is not good. It is sitting at a critic score of 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, while the original movie had a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. And from what I'm seeing on TikTok, Instagram, is that no one is messing with this movie. They said this movie sucks.
How is the main thing I want to know is how is Jack Harlow as
he was there. He was just there. He was just
because I said, I think we talked about it last time, is that he's going to be working with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in a new project. So
he's funny in small doses, but to have him carry a film as a co-lead, he's not ready yet.
He's the way I see him as, he'll be a supporting actor in this project. I don't know, but the way I just picture him and he is. But I'm surprised he got a leading character because it was only a year ago we found out that he was going to play the lead in this film.
Yeah, it came out with such little fanfare. Like no one really. Everyone heard about it when they first casted him, and then silence. And then hey, it's coming out in May. Everyone's like, wait, what? And they came out, and then it was quite shite.
I probably won't be watching it.
Also, shout out to Hulu for the impeccable UI. I love when I have my subtitles on and it just cuts directly to the next line of dialogue for the subtitles. And I love the constant freezing. Hulu, your UI is perfect. I love it.
Well, don't forget they're going to be merging.
Thank God. All right, but that's my news.
With Disney Plus. Okay, well. Other than Mac's shout out to White Man Can Jump, but was that a shout out or just a?
I just wanted to say that movie sucked.
Okay, so his opinion, which we love here, but that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the news. Please give us a heads up if you want us to talk about any particular news story. Send it on over to our email at mnkproductions@gmail.com or send it on over to our Instagram page, which will be linked down below in our description or wherever you're listening to this podcast. For now, let's head on over to the MCU and get lost in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Hi, this is Editing Mac here, coming to you from in the future. So just to let you know, before I get to the transition for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, we spoiled the ever-living hell out of this movie. So if you want to avoid spoilers, you can skip straight to the question. I don't know the timestamp, it'll be on the screen, but you can skip right to the spoilers. I'm going to probably say skip to about an hour and 22 minutes. To get rid of the spoilers, go straight to the ending of the podcast because we're going to spoil Guardians of the Galaxy. So you have been warned. Spoilers. Woo-hoo.
We'll all fly away together. One last time. Into the forever and beautiful sky.
Gets in our way.
No, not kill anyone.
Kill a few people.
Kill no people.
Kill one guy, one stupid guy who no one loves.
Now you're just making it sad.
All right, so the topic, we are talking about the 32nd film in the MCU, good God. And it's the third and final film of this trilogy, and that would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, directed and written by James Gunn. And has the cast back. It's got the ensemble cast we've loved since the first one, with some new additions to the second movie, Christmas special, and then the team-up movies. But they're all here. And in the film, the Guardians embark on a mission to protect Rocket from the High Evolutionary, a new villain that is making headwaves in the culture cinematic universe. But guys, before we get into the talk, let's talk about quick history. So, Guardians of the Galaxy 2014 came out, made $1 billion. No one expected it to be that good, but everyone fell in love with the characters. James Gunn is known for being the superhero movie whisperer. You give him something, let him cook, as the kids would say. He'll make good content. So you did Guardians of the Galaxy, that was a big hit. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I've softened on it for a couple of years now. I thought it was fine. Was it better than the first one? No, but it's fine in its own little niche because it introduced us to Baby Groot and really expanded, like brought out more what we like from the Guardians, like the heart of these movies, because this is like the true definition of family, which is funny because Vin Diesel's in this movie, but we're not talking about Fast and Furious, we're talking about family and Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's got 2 family movies out.
Yeah. So they were on after 2014, 2017. James Gunn said, I got an idea for the third movie. But however, in 2018, he got fired from Disney for some controversial tweets he posted back in the day on the old Twitter, which is the old subtext of be careful what you post because they may be used to fire you in a court of law. But after James Gunn was fired, it was rumored that Disney was going to replace him as director and use the same script. But a lot of the actors, including Batista, said, we're not coming back. We're not going to do it if he's not doing it. And then as soon as James Gunn got hired to do the 2021 Suicide Squad by DC, Marvel's like, so yeah, James, I know we fired you, but listen, we really don't know if anyone's gonna want to work on this movie, but if you're not in it, so do you want to come back and do this? Yeah, so he's like, all right, bet. But plot twist, beginning of the year of 2023, James Gunn became the new head of the DCU, and he, after making Suicide Squad, which was critically acclaimed, he would go on to make Peacemaker, which of course was critically acclaimed. So this is the first time this is the first and only time we're going to have the head of DC release a Marvel directed movie in theaters, like ever. This is breaking new ground, but it's the last one. This is a goodbye to these characters that we know. We may see some of them again, but that we don't know if they're going to be in the same style as James Gunn wanted. But I'm going to start with Tyler. Tyler, what did you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? And what is your love? Do you have a love for this series as a whole?
It broke me in so many ways I wasn't ready for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it didn't even have... Are we doing spoilers?
No.
No? Okay.
Actually, yes.
Let's spoil it.
I'm going to put a disclaimer. Yeah, we're going to spoil it. We can.
All right. Because
spoiler warning for anybody listening to this right now. You have a couple seconds before it gets out of control.
We get
skip to this.
We get a 3, 2, 1.
5 seconds.
Blew me.
Without managing to kill anybody, it still blew my mind how you could end all of these stories so well. And now that I've seen it, I'm like, I'm honestly happy nobody died because he gave them such perfect endings.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice that he didn't kill off the characters, and realizing that their legacy can still continue on and still have like each character do good acts, given what Nebula does, what Drax, they team up, and there's a lot of great stuff that happens that makes, I think, everybody happy who's a Guardians fan, because I would have broke if we saw little baby Rocket or Rocket in general just pass away, because we all saw that in the trailer where Peter Quill was freaking out over Rocket's body, and we were like, oh, is Rocket gonna die? Because my fiance and I we were walking into this movie, we're like, all right, who's gonna die? Everybody knew it was gonna be Drax, since Drax was, then Steve Bautista was like, all right, this is my last one. Like, he made it clear like this was gonna be his last one. But everybody was expecting, Drax to be, the first character to maybe pass, but knowing that nobody died, it was really a sweet honor to know that like I said, the legacy is going to continue on. But before I continue with my thoughts, Tyler, do you want to have anything else to add before we move on to Darius?
I also just want to say how, like, when it comes to like a final movie like this with the Guardians, how it's the final one for that team. Mm-hmm. And they are all still alive, so they're still out there. But like what we were saying, Dave Bautista is moving on. It's weird to know that for the rest of these movies, Drax is out there, and now we're never going to get to know what he's up to, unless they just like say, "Hey, this is what Drax is doing." That's the kind of weird thing about not killing anybody.
Maybe they have a group chat. Because given the fact that Rocket has an iPod, and then somehow they can get Verizon Wireless out in the outer space realm, and are like texting each other.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like Batista says he's done, but he has said that he's very grateful for the role. I don't think he's done because he's stated on multiple periods that he's grateful for the role of Drax that helped him launch him into Hollywood. Before that, no one everyone just kind of still saw him as like the world heavyweight champion Batista. But I feel like if there's a way to bring him back, he'll probably say yes. But I think he does want to move on. There's rumors that says he might want to go to DC, which a lot of actors from the new Guardians movie are rumored to be in Superman movie. So we might see a mass exodus if that's the case.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if they want to go over to DC, why the heck not? I mean, we just talked about it last time that Frank Grillo was the first actor to do that.
People have been fan casting Dave Bautista as Bane for years now.
It could work, especially if they want to do and then Chris Pratt said he wouldn't be mind going over to DC with James Gunn.
He said that. I've heard that. Yes. All right, but Darius, anything else you want to add before we get into Max's side?
I'm going to be 100%. I'm going to be 100% honest. From my experience from Phase 4 all the way up to now, it's honestly been somewhat of a downward spiral. You honestly have to tap dance over an ocean of broken glass to find anything worthwhile in Phase 4, with some noticeable exceptions. Loki, Eternals, No Way Home, Moon Knight, hell, even Miss Marvel for that matter. Those are like the only 5 exceptions to the rule. Everything else has either been immensely disappointing or just complete and total shit. Black Widow, Thor: Love and Thunder, hell, even the recent Quantumania. By the time we got to Quantumania, my pity will had officially bottomed out. So by the time Guardians of the Galaxy 3 came around, I was content on letting it be known that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 would probably be my last MCU movie, if at least for a little while. But even though I was excited for this one, I was also immensely worried because given the track record Marvel had recently, I was so freaking worried that this wasn't going to live up to the previous 2 Guardian movies, because I love the previous 2 Guardian movies. They may not be perfect under any circumstances, but they are ostensibly some of the few movies in the entire Marvel collection that honestly extend and branch out and actually carry the humor of the franchise well, while being its own self-contained thing, and actually feeling like a genuine continuous escalating story. I just gotta say, I thank the Lord above that this is an MCU movie that I can legitimately say I was charmed and entertained by almost the entire way through. And looking back looking back at the Guardians series now, I sort of realized something in a way. If the first Guardians movie overall was about learning to love, and the second Guardians movie was about learning how to accept love from others, then I'd say maybe Guardians 3 sort of boils down to how you take the love that you receive from others in order to better learn how to heal and, I guess, love yourself. Because to me, Guardians is a series centered around people who they want to move away from their traumas while poorly projecting how over it they really are. No one really reacts well to being vulnerable, and yet the bond they share helps them grow closer together. And I think this movie in particular nails the sentiment home of what makes the Guardians in particular so special. Imperfection is perfect enough for some people. It's a celebration of the awkward, the shy, the scared, the broken, the antagonistic, and the cocky for some reason. It's a natural and silly, but an earnest look, I believe, at outcast and the caring communities that they form.
Knowing that Marvel has released 32 films, Ant-Man has a trilogy, Captain America basically has a trilogy, Iron Man has a trilogy. If you want one that's pretty concise and always to excite people with its story, its characters, its character development, and everything going on, I think the perfect series is Guardians, in my opinion.
Seriously, looking at this movie compared to Quantumania, like a few months apart, it's literally looking at night and day. You look at these back to back, and you're wondering what the hell happened here.
I mean, to be fair, we had Darren's movie reviews on to discuss, Quantumania, and we both Darren and I enjoyed it. Mac, you were like, about it, from what I recall, right?
Yep.
And, I knew it wasn't going to be like, I knew it wasn't going to be like, as cinematic as like what Guardians was, because Guardians, I believe, took audiences on a true cinematic journey that explores what the MCU is and what basically the heart of MCU has been since the series had begun in 2014. Mac, I'm curious, very, very curious to hear your thoughts.
So yeah, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Literally since Endgame, it was kind of miss after miss. Black Widow was too late. Shang-Chi was fine, but it didn't really meet expectations for money wise. Eternals was Eternals. No Way Home is not even a Marvel movie. That's a Sony movie, but it just has their name on it, so that's kind of disturbing. Thor: Love and Thunder was disappointing. Doctor Strange 2 was disappointing. They were oversaturated with the TV shows that like everyone was like saying they started off well, but ended off really bad. And then this year with Phase 5 after Phase 4 ended with Wakanda Forever, which was okay, but it really wasn't like anything to write home about.
The dictionary definition of mid.
We were like Phase 5, it's your make or break Marvel. You have to have this be perfect. Otherwise, people will stop watching Marvel movies. And we thought Ant-Man and the Wasp with the introduction of Kang and Jonathan Majors, who at the time were like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. The movie turned out to be very, very underwhelming. Kang was cool, but
that's about it.
Used to his fullest potential. And when I saw the trailer for Guardians, I was like, okay, this is legitimately like the make or break, because I'm like, there's no way a Guardians movie can be like terrible. Like even like number 2, which I don't think is like perfect, I still think it's entertaining and somewhat enjoyable. Like it has to be. And the fact that I was like, okay, so this is James Gunn's last movie. He's obviously have to put his effort. He's gonna put effort into this to make a goodbye, and he did, because I came out. This is the first time I ever felt happy walking out of a Marvel movie and not pissed off in probably 2 years. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is definitely like, it feels like a return to form of Marvel, of just actually having us just sit and be with these characters that we enjoy. You're not introducing these new characters who are shoved in and going to become the new main characters. Ant-Man, Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange, Love and Thunder, but Eternals. But Volume 3 is just, we've been with this team for 9 years. It's just seeing that this feels like the only like trilogy or like set of movies in the entire MCU we feel like we can have a conclusive happy ending. There's no deaths, there's no breakups or anything. They are all together. Well, with Gamora, but that that's it's weird.
They all kind of got to say their quote unquote goodbyes to each other
got to say
in
their
unique
goodbyes,
ways.
Get to it.
Yeah.
Because we all got to grow and love them for the last 7 years. And there's people who watch them on repeats, and they play the film all the time on TV, and there's so many people who love them. I'm sorry, Mac. Sorry, I wanted to add on to that.
And it's better too, because let's face it, this movie, if they went ahead and found a new director to replace James Gunn, there's no way people would be praising this, because I feel like only James Gunn could have done Guardians the way that he wanted to tell this story.
And I think it wouldn't have the same heart.
Yeah,
definitely.
We all know what happened when these characters got in the hands of another writer, and how uncharacteristically one of them acted.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just the fact you have the same crew who've worked together for all 3 of these movies makes it so much more consistent and much more heart to it, because it's like, it's emotional, and it's really good. And then it was just everything about this movie, I enjoyed it very, very much. And like I said in my review, it's just better to have the heart to it, and then you have the same cast, same crew for the last 9 years working on these movies, that that they probably had this plan.
James Gunn had his distinct vision, and I think before he got fired, he probably laid out everything, and then Disney was like, all right, you did all this stuff going on, we're gonna let you go, but we'll take all your ideas. But then luckily they had a great team to say, no, James is our leader, we need him to lead this. I'm very happy he came back, because I don't think Guardians would be the same without James Gunn, because he is also a character to this film.
Yes, he is.
He is the voice, and he gave so much to this project. Out of even the Russo brothers, I have to say, like, I know the Russo brothers have done so many projects, but there is nothing where it has like the charm and heart and soul and charisma and fun and dares to be different and celebrate, you know, so many differences that people have than the Guardians, you know, because everybody is so different in that film, and everybody has grown to love them in so many unique ways, and the tragedies that they all faced together and how they all grew together. It's just it's so, the way he did it, I just can't even say how perfect this film was. Now, I really want to ask you guys, in your opinion, who is the true MVP in this final film?
Rocket.
Rocket.
It definitely would be very easy to declare Rocket as the MVP, because the more I watch the Guardians movies, the more I realize how Rocket was more or less like the secret protagonist of, well, yeah, I would say the secret protagonist of all the Guardians movies in a way. Sure, we have other characters, and all their stories sort of congealing together pretty well. But I think Rocket is more or less like, Rocket in a way is more or less like the battered heart of the team. Even in films like Infinity War and Endgame, the Russos managed to do a good enough job in order to showcase across how much Rocket has changed for the better, and how much he's dedicated and willing to do the right cause. I mean, the poor raccoon got put through hell, and yet at the end of the day, he still chooses to
have his but basically you're saying have his family and have, you know, true people stand by his side, you know, because this was what James Gunn was saying, and what Bradley Cooper has been saying when he was doing his press talk. It's mostly Rocket's story. You know, Peter got to do his side. You know, Groot is just, you know, the little guy or big guy, whoever walks around, depending on what form he's in. He's just Rocket's sidekick. But with the way that this is, it's just going off to what Darius you're saying. I feel like it's always kind of been Rocket's story, and just
that's the reason
leading
why,
that. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the reason why he was probably the only Guardian not affected by the snap, if you think about it.
Yeah, because in the end, I'm going to spoil it right now. 3, 2, 1. Peter Quill just basically passes the torch and makes Rocket the true leader in this new Guardians, because we have a new set of characters who are like the new Guardians of the Galaxy. One of them being Adam Warlock, portrayed by Will Poulter, who was also a huge fan casting, exciting announcement. So, Tyler, I want to hear your thoughts with Will Poulter and his decision to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and how did you enjoy him?
Well, before that, what did you think about the movie in whole? Before we get to the specific thing,
you gotta discuss that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops. Yeah, Will Poulter. What'd you think?
I really enjoyed his character. I've really liked Adam Warlock from what little comics I've read him in, because I don't delve too much into cosmic Marvel comics. But I thought he was really cool, and to portray him as like this kind of bumbling idiot, like a child, I thought it was a good choice, because like he was technically born not too long ago, and he was taken out.
He was just. It goes with the joke. Oh, he was just born yesterday, and back.
Right. And they mentioned specifically that he was taken out of incubation early, so he's like not fully formed. He's not ready to be the ultimate weapon, perfect specimen yet. And I think it's just a funny little gag, and I hope to see him grow, since technically he'll get to be lumped in with these younger characters.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, from what I see, definitely like the Drax side to things, you know, because Drax was learning like all of his, like, you know, learning to be sarcastic, and I feel like that's how we're gonna see Adam Warlock in a way. And, you know, at least he gives himself something worthy to fight for in going forward, because, you know, in the film, he loses his mother. In the film, I'm also going to point that out very quickly. And
I gotta say, that's the quickest way to my heart for a character. Make him a mama's boy.
Yes, make him a mama's boy.
I'm a big mama's boy.
I am going to be 100%. I'm going to be 100% honest. I sort of had a feeling going into the movie that Adam Warlock wasn't going to get as big of a presence as he was sort of being built up to in a way with James Gunn leaving and all that, and the High Revolutionary sort of taking the role as main antagonist. And considering we had a feeling that we were going to get Rocket's backstory in this movie, I think it was sort of inevitable. I think it was sort of inevitable at the point that Adam Warlock was sort of going to be. I wouldn't exactly say pushed to the side in a way, but he wasn't going to be as prominent of a force as the High Revolutionary, and yet James still went out of his way to give him something of value to do and something of importance at the end of the day. Even and that's sort of the thing about James Gunn that I've definitely learned to appreciate and respect the more I watch his movies. But the more I watch his movies, I wouldn't say he pays attention to every sort of detail, but he at least does his best to make sure every arc that's introduced at least gets some sort of a resonant conclusion, I guess,
or some kind of like story arc, and that has at least a palpable or passable beginning, middle, and end, like what we at least character trait to the story. So I'm excited to see what his character is going to turn out to be. Like I said, I think he's going to have like the Drax side, and I think he's a good addition. I think we're going to have some great adventures with Rocket and him and Groot and the pet that he basically inherits. I forgot the pet's name. Like, do you guys?
I forgot the name too.
Like, I love that little weird looking fur ball. Like, and then we have the young girl who was running on the treadmill. I didn't get her name.
I got it.
Okay, what was her name? Do you remember?
Well, they never really technically say it anywhere in the movie. It's kind of like
what I
confirmed
thought.
in post credit. Not. It's in behind the scenes stuff where her name is on her little acting chair.
Okay.
And so it just says Phyla. And if you read the comics, you realize how big of a deal she's going to be.
Interesting. Okay, I'm very excited because this is a young actress they casted, and this is going to probably continue on her legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that she could probably carry on a huge Marvel thing. She's going to be our not Nebula, Gamora.
Ooh.
So I'm also going to say Nebula, but I don't know why, even though I knew it was going to my head. We're just going to be Gamora. But anyways, I also want to say another big thing I've been seeing online is the Rocket's old friends. We have, Tease, Floor, and Lila.
Oh boy.
That's a rough sequence of events to endure. I for sure cried multiple times during when we had those interactions. But also, to be fair, I cried multiple times in this film.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't even count. My fiance and I were just needing tissue after tissue after tissue after tissue. Tell me, what did you guys think of Rocket's friends?
Broke me.
Adorable.
Adorable, terrifying, saddening.
There is. God! I knew this was it. I had a feeling going into this movie that it was going to be the most heartbreaking scene of the movie, and it definitely proved me right. But even so, James put so much personality into these characters with a very limited screen time that they're given, and it's like we've gotten so accustomed and so pulled into this family of into this family of outcasts and in a way. It's sort of, oh God.
It's emotional to go through for those four characters that we, at least when they're together. Is that what you're saying?
Very much so.
Yeah. I also want to acknowledge the voice actor who for Lila for this film, and it's Linda Cardellini. Velma. But if you guys don't know,
she was Hawkeye's wife.
Yes. That
Yep.
is right. So now Linda Cardellini has the honor to play 2 Marvel characters now, which is kind of awesome.
A
You
small
don't even
crew, but there
realize
is
it.
a crew that does that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is like
so
a group that exists in the MCU. People who played 2 characters.
yeah, so shout out to her. I thought that was because I didn't realize it was her until once the credits rolled, and I was like, "That was Linda. That was the girl from Dead to Me. That was Velma."
I found out like
that.
a day or 2 before I saw the movie because they released that scene on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I remember watching this and the reading and the.
Knowing that he managed to sneak Linda into the movie, I wish he had gotten more of the Scooby-Doo people into it. Freddie Prinze
Oh my gosh.
Jr.
Who do you think Freddie Prinze Jr. would have played? Teats?
Honestly, it would have been perfect for all of them to just voice those characters. Yeah.
Or like, no, Matthew Lillard I could see as Teats.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that.
And then like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I couldn't think of her name. Damn it.
That's right.
She could be the rabbit. Was
Floor.
Floor, yeah.
And then we have Rocket. So not everybody could have been it. Freddie Prinze Jr. just would have been in the back like, hey, I'm some kind of animal that nobody's going to pay attention to.
The deformed one that Mantis rescued.
I mean, right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But anything else you guys want to share about Guardians? And what do you think the future holds for MCU? And if you're excited for future MCU projects?
On one hand, I am very happy that I got the chance to see this movie. I am very happy that it is very well received, and I am very happy that these characters got the ending they deserved, or at least going to be remembered fondly by moviegoers and critics alike for hopefully a few more years in general. Years and generations. On the other hand, though, even though this particular MCU movie felt like an apology in some way, it's just I don't want to say this is a scenario where it's sort of too little too late for Marvel, because people are going to see their TV shows and movies regardless. But at the same exact time, considering what we got at the end of Phase 3, going into Phase 4, and even now going into Phase 5, it has not really been that good of a time. We've had so many TV shows and so many movies that offer so many plot holes and so many inconsistencies that sort of break apart the entire universe, and it sort of just becomes a logistical nightmare if you really take the time to go over it and digest it in a way. So in a way speaking, I'm not exactly sure what the future is going to hold. I didn't exactly catch any of the new trailers for any of the new shows and movies coming out, with the exception of the Marvels. But even so, this is a scenario where unless they actually pull something big to get me to come back, and unless they actually give the writers and their staff and the rest of the team a lot more time and respect, and the wherewithal and the will to actually go forward with these projects and actually make them, it's just I can't really see myself coming back to this series, at least anytime soon. I'm totally content with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 being my final MCU movie, at least until further notice.
I completely agree with that. I'll expand more later. But Tyler, let me hear your thoughts. Your final thoughts.
To be the complete opposite side of Darius, if Marvel only has one fan, it's me. If Marvel has 0 fans, that means I'm dead.
Yes, that TikTok.
I will be seated whether at my couch for the show or in the theater for a movie. I will be there for every single one.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really found any Marvel movies or project that I don't enjoy. I've enjoyed everything so far,
mm-hmm.
With maybe a couple exceptions, but that's a different story, and it's not about Phase 5 or Phase 4. So I don't know. I really enjoyed them, and I'm really looking forward to the future. Secret Invasion seems really interesting to me. I love
Yeah,
that
that's coming out
comic
really
story.
soon.
And then I'm a big Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel fan, and now Spectrum as well, or Monica Rambeau. So I'm very excited to see the three of them come together for the Marvels. I just think the future has a lot of potential, and especially with Nia DaCosta doing the Marvels. I really liked the new Candyman, so I think that could bring a nice direction to the MCU. And Guardians 3 is just pretty top tier Marvel. Like, it's so high up on my list. It was a fantastic way to conclude so many ongoing stories. What James Gunn was able to do with these characters even after things that he was out of his control, like Gamora's death and anything else that would happen in Infinity War, Endgame, and Thor: Love and Thunder, to be able to keep these characters going and give them satisfying endings just shows how fantastic he is and how well he knows his characters.
Yeah, Mac.
Yeah,
You were so quiet.
No one asked me a question. I was like, you guys are just.
Well, I thought you were gonna jump in.
Nah, that's rude. But no, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, really tremendous movie. Definitely the best Marvel movie I've seen in quite a while. And after like a slew of disappointments, it's such a breath of fresh air to actually have something good to say about Marvel again. And I think with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 also proved, which I didn't hear anyone talk about, is that the term superhero fatigue is total bullshit, because as long as you make your film intriguing and investing to the general audience, I don't think superhero fatigue will be a thing. So they just proved it that people will still go out to go see it, because currently Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is sitting at $659 million worldwide.
It's no doubt that it's going to make $1 billion. This is going to be the summer movie.
Well, I would say it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna crack $1 billion. It's kind of. I think. It's already at the end of the month, and then Little Mermaid's coming out soon. So that's gonna make money. We just had Fast and Furious 10. And say what you want about that, it's still making money. So
I'm honestly worried about the upcoming Across the Spider-Verse box office.
I am right. I will give more money to Guardians, to be fair. So if it needs to make $1 billion,
and then
I'll be that one guy. Remember the guy who saw like Captain Marvel 40 something times? I will be that girl that has to pay to see Guardians 40 more times.
But then it doesn't help too that we're getting in Transformers, Spider-Verse, then Indiana Jones, which are probably gonna make more money, but not at the close to it. But no, Guardians is the cracking $1 billion. But it was just fun. It's a fun, because I knew for a fact that we were gonna get a good movie after we watched the Christmas special, because that Christmas special was hilarious. But I loved it. Linda Cardellini, with the animals, I thought it was fine. I didn't really have a reaction to it. I was just like, oh, that's sad.
We talked about that. Where were you?
No, I was listening to you guys. I was trying to tell you I'm catching up. But I will say this movie isn't like perfect. I think Adam Warlock was very, wanted more from him. I like Will Poulter, so it's kind of funny. I kept seeing We're the Millers when he was like the kid. That was kind of funny.
He was the kid but buff.
Yeah. Then I also liked High Evolutionary as a villain. I think that's what Kang should have been in Ant-Man. If we can find a way to bring him back and maybe turn him into the big bad of the new MC phase 5 and 6, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Well, he's not dead.
No,
because Drax carried him out.
There actually was a post on Instagram that actually showed that Drax actually did carry the High Evolutionary out of the burning whatever that was supposed to be. Basically,
the spaceship fortress.
I will say some parts of the production design is very Cronenberg-esque, and I think that
but yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 3, very good. Secret Invasion, whatever. Marvel's, hell no. But
Tyler.
Yeah, sorry, Tyler. I did not like Captain Marvel. I will go out and probably say it's not the worst MCU movie, but damn, it's close for me, because Thor: Dark World still takes that as the worst one for me.
My worst is Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, that one just destroyed me.
That was bad.
It's dog shit.
Captain Marvel, I'm not. That trailer, I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And the fact that you had to make it to the fact you had to have 3 of them, because everyone was like, oh, all the people were sort of like, yeah, no, we're not really a big fan of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, so we can't have her the focus place of the movie. And I'm assuming Samuel Jackson can, a lot, so gotta make sure you have the two new people too, because we all know about Kamala Khan and the other girl from Monica from WandaVision. But yeah, so the Guardians Galaxy did a good job bringing back some disconnected people from the MCU. Let's see how long they stay.
For me, I'm gonna hop off between basically all y'all, but for someone who hasn't been too crazy, and I feel like, I do believe there is some factor of superhero fatigue. I know we witnessed that for Shazam, given the fact that Shazam didn't do well box office financially. There's some people who I know will go and see the Marvel properties for sure. But as someone who hasn't been totally pleased and wowed and hasn't I miss seeing oh, Molly is making all sorts of noises on my computer. Excuse me. Oh, okay, sorry. Now she's sneezing all over me. Okay. Anyways, I was saying, if this was my last MCU film for a while, like what Darius was saying, then I don't mind it being my Guardians of the Galaxy, my last hurrah for a while, because the Marvels is getting released the weekend I'm getting married, so I won't be saying that for quite some time. So but otherwise, I haven't been too pleased about some of the TV shows. I love WandaVision. I enjoyed Loki, was pretty good. When Captain, Winter Soldier, Falcon, say what you wanted that in that context. I enjoyed Hawkeye. I'm curious about Secret Invasion, but I'm curious about Loki season 2, but I don't know how I feel going forward. I just am feeling definitely if this is going to be the last Marvel film I see in theaters for a while, then fine, I'll just watch the TV shows, and then just catch up for a while of, because I feel I've seen all the superheroes I wanted to in theaters, and now it's all right, now it's time for me to see something a little bit newer. Maybe Marvel needs to take not so much of a break, but I say that for Star Wars as well, but I don't know. I think they need to re-envision themselves like what James Gunn is going to be doing with, the DCU. So
I am definitely intrigued to see how James Gunn is going to take the newly rechristened DCU in a new direction. I mean, then again, David Zaslav is still the CEO, so it's not exactly a high bar to clear. But then again, considering what he did with the Galaxy, with the Guardians and all that, I do have some measure of hope that they'll at least get more of a consistent time frame in between movies. And I'm gonna be honest, I think that's probably the only legitimate reason I'm even gonna bother seeing The Flash, just to sort of close out this entire close out this entire thing. And not to mention with the with what you said about the superhero fatigue and all that, that's sort of the thing with these superhero movies. You can't often tell whether it's just the films are getting progressively worse or if you're just getting older. And
I think not just it's that, and it's just the IP that they're going to adapt, because it was funny because we I think all of us have at least seen Shazam, the newest Shazam, and the new one. I particularly enjoyed it, but the way it just came out and just the way it was marketed and the way that it's the IP and property lately, it's not an MCU film, it's DC, and it didn't do as well financially, and maybe that's where a lot of people are seeing that fatigue in that realm. So it's only going to stay for the DCU, because you also know during 2021, James Gunn directed Suicide Squad.
I still call it Suicide Squad 2, but yeah.
I call it that too. But that didn't do as financially well either. if you all recall.
Well, because
But
that
then
was
again,
more.
it is a
That was
vast improvement over the first film.
well, and we were in the middle of a pandemic. And the
Yes,
fact that
I'm
they
also
were-
continuing saying those factors as well. Like those don't play a factor as well.
Yeah, and then the fact it released in theaters and HBO Max, so a lot of people decided just to watch it on HBO Max.
So I think superhero fatigue is still around to a degree, but I think it's this point studios need to be careful and selective in how they choose their projects and how they're going to approach them and pick out the best talent. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. My dog is barking. To carry those, projects forward. So that's my thoughts. Molly's giving her thoughts. She's the rocket in this situation. But anything else?
I think that's it. This is a good movie. Go check it out.
Yes, I highly recommend.
It's okay.
And also, I just want to say it's probably my favorite film of the year so far. It's number one for me.
I wouldn't go that far. It's still John Wick.
It's number one.
I wouldn't go that far. If I'm honestly debating whether it's going to be an honorable mention or if it's only just going to get on my list. Honestly, I haven't really found a film yet that's surpassed either John Wick or Rye Lane, but that's definitely something to consider.
Gotta check out.
I won't let you sit on that alone, Kristen. It's the only movie I've given a 10 out of 10 this year so far. John Wick is a very close second, but I didn't give it a 10. But so far, my only 10.
Yeah,
best movie of the year.
Yeah, I'm on my scale. It's like basically a 10 out of 10. James Gunn didn't have to do too much to please me in this sense. But guys, let us know your thoughts on the Guardians of the Galaxy volume 3. I almost said volume 2. And your thoughts. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know. We want to know. And yeah, let's move on to our, as Molly's saying, let's move on to the box office report with Mac.
All right, so the box office report for this past weekend of the 19th to 21st of May. At number 10, we got Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which came in at 405.8K made. Number 9, Love Again with 410,000 made. Hypnotic, 815,000. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, coming in at number 7 with $1.3 million. John Wick Chapter 4 coming in at number 6 with $1.3 million. Evil Dead Rise is number 5 with $2.4 million. Book Club, the next chapter, coming in with $3 million at number 4. Number 3 is the Mario movie, still ranking in the dough with $9.6 million. And number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, coming in with $32.4 million. And taking the top spot in its opening weekend is Fast Furious 10, which came in at $67 million made. And its total so far of its run at the box office, Fast and Furious X has made $318.5 million worldwide.
Well, I'm not surprised.
However,
it's not surprising.
However,
family always comes out on top.
Yeah, but here's
as Diesel says, family comes out on top. Literally, his first
Fast and Furious franchise is immortal. Fast and Furious franchise is immortal. We cannot kill it.
Here's a fun fact for you. On Sunday, it had a 26.7% drop in daily revenue, only making a $16.5 million per Sunday. So I think everyone by Sunday is like, yeah, we're sick of this shit.
We saw, like, all the major fans saw it in advance, and then they're
honestly,
like, all right.
Yeah. So, yeah, is anyone going to see the new Fast and Furious? And are you excited for this being a part 1 of a 3-part trilogy ending?
I literally saw it yesterday, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how they did it, but they bloody did it. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. They literally went to space in F9. The fact that movie didn't break me, but this one did, is pretty telling.
I saw it on Thursday, and I haven't yet to review it yet because I'm just really lazy. But I mean, it was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, but I had a smile the entire time on my face.
Pretty much.
It was it is something that like breaks you, and the opposite way that Guardians breaks you, you just like you can't help but
you just
laugh
shrug
at
your
what they're
shoulders,
willing
kind
to
of
do.
like
Like
go,
there's
"All
a
right."
very somber, serious moment, and I laughed out loud, very loud, in my very quiet theater.
Were you the only one in your theater?
No,
Or
it was
no?
actually pretty packed for was it like 2 p.m. on a Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you saw it at 2 p.m. on a Thursday?
Yeah.
Listen, for
Dang.
as much as we make fun of these series, this series is like widely popular. So no matter what, people will go see it just for
If
cars.
As long as I keep making them, I'll keep going to see them because I want to see how much further they are going to try and take it.
Well, they already went to space. What more they can do? What?
Well, they ruled out time.
They already went to bloody space. What more can they do? Like time travel again?
Well, no, they ruled that out. But we don't.
I
know.
wonder what Paul Walker would say if he was still around.
No, they said that they said that he'd be cool with all these movies. That's what he wanted. And I'm like,
you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
I'm like, oh no. But
Get out the Ouija board and let's find out.
My favorite, they should do what Ana de Armas did for Blonde and go to his grave and ask if it's okay for him if they keep doing these movies.
Yes. Paul Walker.
I mean, I guess.
Can we continue this franchise and then like take a Ouija board out and
what's funnier too is when I saw Guardians, they played the trailer for Fast X and the part when Vin Diesel's driving down the dam.
Hoover Dam.
I turned to my dad and I said, "Man, remember when the series was about street racing and like it was just whoever had to use the NOS at the right timing, and now like their Vin Diesel at this point is just."
Now we have Helen Mirren in them.
Listen, whatever you're expecting from that dam sequence, if you ever see it, Jesus Christ.
I feel like that's the one. I feel like that's the scene that might break you guys because I've read reports that like I guess there's a lot of there's like one disturbing scene with Jason Momoa that they had to get permission to put in. Is Jason Momoa a good villain?
I liked him.
I can't answer this one.
I thought he was the best part of the movie.
Definitely, in my personal opinion, he's the best one since Deckard. In my opinion.
Really? So is he just having fun?
Yes.
Oh
yes,
yeah, he looks like he's having
fun.
so much fun.
Thank God. So how about
it honestly goes into camp territory a little bit. And honestly,
yeah,
I
kind of don't mind that.
And how's John Cena? Is John Cena better than he was in the previous one?
He is.
Because you remember this is one had production issues because Justin Lin quit. he's like F you, Vin Diesel. And that's the thing. That's the thing with Vin Diesel. I love Vin Diesel. Like I think he gets shit on too much as an actor, but
I love a good Vin Diesel meme though.
My thing is like I think he there's nothing wrong with wanting to take your craft seriously, and I respect that for actors, but he needs to realize that this is not like a Francis Ford Coppola level type movie. This is Fast and Furious.
I don't think he realizes that.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's in on the joke. Like, I think the saddest part is like when he does this stuff in the movie, he's like dead serious. Like, oh, this is like cinema. Because remember, like when Fast 9 came out, he was like, I want this to like be nominated for an Oscar. I said, relax, Vin. You're going crazy. And then the fact that
I showed you mercy.
He ran The Rock out of town with it. It was like, damn, Vin, like what you really like, you didn't give a shit about this franchise. You left after the first movie and came back in the third one. Like
I just want to acknowledge also the fact the only time I've really remembered Vin Diesel at this point is besides Groot. Is his musical career, because remember he was in if you're a Selena Gomez fan like myself, he was in her song It Ain't the one with Kygo. He does the backup vocals for her.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And if you guys got to go online and do a deep dive, there's a video online of Vin Diesel singing Drunk in Love by Beyonce.
I still remember when he had the interview a few years ago. He said, "Let me talk to you, baby." I'm like, "Oh no, Vin, what are you doing?"
That cringe.
Yeah,
that
he's
was
like,
for
yeah.
XXX. No.
Yeah, he's like, "Let me talk to you, baby. Let me talk to you, baby." Like, oh my gosh. But enough of well, okay. I guess one more thing. When I saw a post about that, I guess we're talking about Fast and Furious. Fuck it. There was one time I was on Friday, and it was like a series of posts on Instagram. It was like, at what moment was it like you guys said, I'm done with this series? And the ones I saw was one convincing us that John Cena and Vin Diesel are brothers. The second one, being
true, though.
when Vin Diesel caught the car in the 8th movie. The next one was when The Rock took the torpedo and like
turned the tail wheel to the left really quickly.
And then the next one was like I think the next one was when he caught Letty from one side of the highway to the other end.
The tank in Fast 6.
Yeah, and then the last one was when him and Jason Statham were having a fight on the parking garage. This man just earth stomped the parking garage and
earth bends for a second.
Yeah. I gotta ask y'all, what was the point you guys are like, I'm so done with these? Like the logic has gone out because they even made a joke in the life when Tyler's just like, you ever notice how we got in these situations we don't have a single scratch on us? Like, you know.
They make a joke about it in Fast X.
Of course they do.
It's kind of funny you mentioned The Rock because no
spoilers.
We did it for Guardians.
I haven't seen it. I actually want to see it. I'm not trying to get spoilers.
Oh, right. That's right. Because you're seeing it.
I did read apparently it sets up Hobbs and Shaw 2, which is yay.
I did hear about that.
I didn't give a fuck about Hobbs and Shaw. It was just a movie to be made because The Rock was mad at Vin Diesel.
When's The Rock not mad when he doesn't have attention to BH? I'm not trying to be mean.
It wasn't even that.
Here's the thing. Remember the fact that with the whole controversy with Black Adam?
Oh, yeah.
So he had his own superhero movie. So now he had his own Fast and Furious movie.
Well, it's the fact too. Vin Diesel's like, this is my franchise. You can't break this family. Rock, I'll fight you. You can't break my family. And then Vin Diesel's like, hey, you can come back. And Rock's like, no, I'm good. But this has been the Fast and Furious podcast, aka the Guardians of the Galaxy podcast. I want to thank our guests for coming on, Darius and Tyler. Thank you for coming on again. We gotta have you guys on again soon.
I'm glad to be on here.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
So go ahead, Kristen.
Yeah, I was just gonna say yay and do more comments.
Yeah,
so more compliments to our guests.
You're gonna find their posts you're gonna find the links to their socials in the description below, of course. And make sure you comment. What's your favorite Fast and Furious moment? Because my favorite moment is when Bow Wow was like, if you ain't out of control, you ain't in control. And he highly claimed
Bow Wow
Tokyo Drift. Because remember when he had the Hulk car and he hulked all over the screen, and then Lucas Black was like, it's Tokyo drifting time, and then drifted all over the screen. That was truly great. But Kristen, what's coming up on the podcast? What are we doing these next couple?
I think for our next podcast,
Fast Furious.
I'm not seeing it, so
you need to see it.
Unfortunately. We got the Spider-Verse coming up.
Yes. Yeah. Are we going to talk about the first movie or the?
First movie next time.
Yes.
Alrighty, guys. So we're going to be talking about the first Spider-Verse movie before we head into the Spider-Verse sequels. So join us next time as we talk the Spider-Verse. Once again, thank you so much to Darius and Tyler for taking the time out of their schedules to talk to us. And make sure you follow us on our Instagram pages and our Twitters. They will also be linked down below. And we will see you guys next time. See ya. Bye.
Peace.
Bye.
See you later.
On the same shit, you ain't in my lane, bitch. Nah, all that shit it fits, rollie on my wrist. Ay, baby, you a star, I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue honeys, I'm too money. Ay, and my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Ay, baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah, getting high with the seat laid back.